Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Look, there was just something on my heart that I've been wanting to share for several weeks now. I've been saying I'm going to make this video because there are too many people on too many platforms with too much influence giving too much bad information, spreading too much negative propaganda, basically slandering God's creation of marriage. God's creation of marriage. Marriage was the first institution created, even before the church. We go far, far back, as far back as Garden of Eden. That's when marriage began. Adam and Eve. And ever since the turn of events, where we fell into sin as a humankind, it's just been a downward spiral, and we are in such a dark, sunken place where it's just cringe to listen to people's perspectives on marriage. And even worse, it's infiltrated the church. We're seeing divorce statistics that are just as high, and if not higher, than the statistics of divorce in the world. I have some notes here that I'm going to be referencing. These are my original thoughts on marriage, but I just want to give you all and share with you all the primary design of marriage, because many people get married for love or for money or for sex or for spirituality reasons, or there are many, many, many reasons people marry, but that's the easy part. Getting married is the easy part, but staying married, that's where people start to have trouble because they don't understand that marriage is going to marriage you. And it's not even being married, you're marrying, you're constantly marrying. And when marriage begins to work and do what it's supposed to do, people are blindsided because they have no idea what marriage is supposed to do interpersonally. So I just want to share this with you. What many people don't realize about marriage is that it provides you a permanent atmosphere for both people to recognize their flaws in a safe space with someone they trust, love, and respect. That's why vetting is so important. That's why you have to be mindful who you're marrying. That's why these shows, Married at First Sight, is super risky for that reason by itself. It's quite literally one of the best benefits of being married is being paired with someone that will mirror back to you those blind spots that you can't see about yourself, right? So marriage will refine you and help develop you into the greatest version of yourself, like no other relationship that exists on earth. I don't care what job you have. I don't care how many kids you got, how many degrees you have. There's something about marriage, healthy, godly marriage, that will develop you into the best version of yourself possible. Now, the problem is, this is where we run into hiccups. People are so selfish. People are so selfish these days. They are very selfish. They're very me driven. They don't want to serve. They don't want to give. They just want to take, whether that's resources or whatever the case is that they may be in it for, which may be the wrong reasons. People are selfish, and they're so stuck in their ways, they won't even allow the transformation of marriage to work in them the way it was designed to. Now, this is also why, statistically, marriages fail within the first 3 to 5 years. Sure, divorce happens around 7 to 8 years, but let's backtrack a little bit. So let's say we start with the honeymoon period, which is anywhere from 6 months to 2 years on average. After that stage, you go into the real relationship phase where you start to see each other's flaws and shortcomings and run into those differences, right? You do that for about another 2 to 4 years, give or take. And then once you get to the point where you want to make it or break it and just leave the marriage, the divorce process is sometimes up to 2 years. So when we finalize and divorce, we at about 7 years, 8 years mark. It's a vicious cycle. And everybody's going into marriage head first without understanding that this is going to develop you in some ways. So because people don't understand that the beginning phase of marriage is challenging. The honeymoon period is beautiful, but the beginning part of marriage is challenging because that's when the transformation process actually is beginning, right? It's the toughest, yet the most rewarding part of marriage. And it's such a shame that too many people don't have the right tools for marriage to sustain, to overcome getting their rhythm in marriage to get to the promised land. We have the word of God. It's a beautiful thing. We have the instructions of the word, but having those practical day-to-day tools on how to deal with certain issues in relationships, we get a lot of toxic information from celebrities, entertainment, media, hearsay, what my girl said, like what Big Mama said, whether she may have been wrong or right. We have a hard time gauging not only what is the right thing to do within a marriage, but what is the right thing to do for you. So, this is why I am such a huge advocate for our academy, Kingdom Marriage Academy. We have created a school for godly Christian marriages, both men and women, to come together to learn the tools, gain the community, get the newsletters, get the support, and have the fun that's missing in marriage today. My husband and I, we are our first teachers. Back during COVID, we had hit like ground zero in our marriage. We had fallen so far off the rails, I actually filed for divorce because it had gotten so bad. And even though my husband was doing his thing in teaching and I was doing my thing, like we couldn't quite get a hang on our marriage. And we didn't fully understand, like, this is supposed to happen. Like we're supposed to have conflicts, but how we resolve those conflicts is what's gonna make or break us, right? I'll give a personal story, and that this is a little embarrassing, but I have to overcome this wall that I have with being vulnerable and transparent because I understand that this journey of life in marriage is intended to help somebody else. There was an incident not too long ago where, my husband and I were coming home from an event. It was the weekend, it was nighttime, it was kind of late. So we have our little children with us and we're walking home from our parking spot. So going towards the right, towards the house, it was dark. It was like no lights. It was this homeless white guy like hanging on the corner, looked like he was strung out on something. I don't know. But I'm checking it out like, yeah, saying to myself, I don't want to go this way, but I got my husband with me, so I know I'm safe without saying a word. My husband says, let's go around towards the front, which is the main street where it's really busy. Mind you, we live in a tourist town and it's the weekend, so it's crowded. So we go around towards the front side and it's more crowded than expected. On the sidewalk, it's like 50 people in roller skates just hanging out, congregating. And I'm looking like, dang, I knew we should have went around the back. And so my husband kind of looked at me. And I didn't know what that look was, but I know now and I'll share it with you. So he's like, no, just follow me. We got this. So he and our 3-year-old that he's carrying, they pushed through the crowd. I'm assessing the situation with a huge stroller and a newborn baby, a 5-month-old baby who's asleep. I'm not going to barrel through the crowd of people making all this noise, waking up the baby, scaring him. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to go this way. I'm going to cross the street, come around and meet him at the end of the block. The light was taking too long. I look back, he's already pushed through the crowd. So I'm like, man, it's going to take too long to cross the street. I'm just going to go behind the building. Yeah, it's dark. Yeah, that crackhead is back there, but, I'll just be watchful and move as quickly as possible. So I go around the back, move as quickly as possible. Eventually, I made it to the front of our building. I don't see my husband anywhere. I end up calling him, and we made it upstairs, and I felt the tension. I felt the tension because I was frustrated with him because I felt like, how could you leave us and lead us this way, and we should have went the other way, and that was a bad decision. But my other side is like, I'm submitting to my husband's leadership, and I want to follow, and trust in him what he's saying. So we go to sleep mad. Next morning, we wake up, we say, look, let's talk about what happened last night. What my husband likes to call, let's unpack this. We consider conflict a gift to be unpacked. We call it our Amazon package of conflict. Let's unpack this. Let's use our tools and unpack what happened from your perspective and my perspective. So I share my perspective. I'm like, okay, yeah, my first thought is we should have went around to the back, although it was dark. I didn't speak my mind in it because I was trusting your leadership. And when I saw that following your leadership took us to a route that made me feel unsafe, I took it upon myself to operate independently and went my own way. He respected what I had to say, he understood, and then he shared his point of view. As your husband, I'm leading you this way, and I'm not going to let nothing happen to you. As I was pushing through the crowd, they moved out of the way for us. And eventually they dispersed, and the sidewalk was clear. And you abandoned my leadership by going the other way. And on top of that, by you going behind that building, something could have happened to you. It's not just you, but you got our 5-month-old baby in a stroller walking behind a dark building because you're trying to hurry up and meet me in the front of the building. I said, wow, I didn't even consider it that way because in my mind, this was all your fault. Lack of accountability. Women struggle with accountability. And that's something we really need to work on. But real is real. And what he was saying was all facts. I said, wow, I didn't consider it that way. But we eventually worked through that. We unpacked it, we understood it, and we created a game plan for how to handle such a situation again in the future if it happens to come up. I say all this to say having the right tools on how to overcome your differences within marriage is imperative. I often compare going into marriage without training as getting on the expressway with a Ferrari and no driver's license. We try to figure it out and move around traffic in the road based on what everybody else is doing, based on how everybody else is driving. But we're the captains of our own car, which is our marriage, right? Every car is going to look different. Every car is going to a different direction. Every car has a different purpose. So when we go on the road without any training, disaster is bound to happen. Somebody's likely to get run over or car accident collisions. Worse things can happen. Can you make it to your destination safely? Sure. But will it be difficult? Could it be a lot more stressful when you don't know what you're doing? Absolutely. Because what you don't, it's really difficult to improve what you don't understand, basically, is what I'm saying. It's very difficult to improve what you don't understand. That is why we have our Kingdom Marriage Academy. I'm going to pin the link to this as well. Now, one of the biggest assets, like I said, about becoming a KMA member is free. If you want to become a Kingdom Marriage Explorer, it's free. If you want to upgrade and join as a student, there is a small monthly fee that gives you access to all of the programs and services that we offer. Now, we're really passionate about what we do and who we are. My husband and I both come from previous marriages that weren't God's best for us or God's plan for our lives. Those are what we would call free will marriages, if you will, or Christian marriages. Now, there are 3 types of marriages that we teach. There are contradictory marriages, which is something God never wanted you in the first place. They're Christian-based marriages, which are basically marriages we go into because we want to, not burn with passion and have lustful lifestyles and want to do things the right way. Then there's kingdom marriages, which is the marriages that are God ordained and purposeful. And that is what my husband and I have, and that was the birth of Kingdom Marriage Academy. And that is why we are on a mission to help as many couples as possible. We can make this thing fun. And once you have the tools to navigate something, it takes so much stress out and it almost becomes fun. It does. It's not a matter of if you're going to have conflict in marriages because you are. You can count on it. You're 2 different people with 2 different backgrounds coming together trying to make the machine work. You're going to have conflict by way of your personality types, your temperament types, just the fact that you have a woman brain and a man brain. There are so many things that are designed to clash, but we give you the practical tools. Now, we're not here to tell you what to do, but we give you the tools on how to do. if that makes sense. And if you all have any questions, feel free to drop it in the comments. I'm here to answer you. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you guys. I'm glad you all are coming in. Yeah, the sad part is that there are adult men who have zero self-control because all they do is indulge in porn all day. As a man, it makes me sick. And that's another problem. Like, we're not even touching on the outside elements that are set up to sabotage marriage and relationships. Not just porn. What do they call it in the YouTube world where you don't get flagged? They call it corn. We'll call it corn. You've got corn, you've got the social media, you've got feminist programming that's brainwashing women, and this happy wife, happy life garbage that's being pumped into the ears of women and men alike. I heard my husband shared a video with me the other day, and it was Pastor Tim Ross. He's one of the pastors that works with Pastor Todd, Michael Todd, with Transformation Church, who I adore. I love the church. Great program. He was on a panel, I'm talking about Tim Ross. He was on a panel with a couple of other pastors, and the topic of conversation was basically husbands in marriage. And his comments was somewhere along the line of, when men get into marriage, it's about you dying to yourself. It's about dying to your desires. It's about you going to work and being a man and doing what you're supposed to do and toughing through it. And nobody told you it's going to be easy, but that's what you're supposed to do. Basically, nobody cares about how you feel. It don't matter how you feel. You're supposed to tough it out, regardless of how hard it is, how miserable you are. I'm paraphrasing here. And then, he came back with the biblical scriptures, like Christ died for us, which is true. Glory be to God. Christ died for us, and we're supposed to carry our crosses, and men are supposed to sacrifice for their families, and And after I heard and used my discernment, I said to my husband, I agree with part of what he said, but then I also didn't agree with the first part of what he said. It's like having a glass of water with just a drop of poison. That drop of poison taints the whole cup. I don't want it. Because the problem is we are teaching too many men and women that this happy wife, happy life is the way to go. Absolutely unbiblical. Is there sacrifice in marriage? Yes, on both parts. Is there servitude in marriage? Yes, on both parts. But nowhere in the word does it say that husbands are supposed to suffer and be miserable, depressed, and not have a voice or authority or leadership over their homes and in the marriage. That's totally unbiblical. Neither should a man or woman, I'm speaking specifically of men because men was his target audience when he was speaking. Men are not supposed to suffer their marriages. This is why so many men don't want to go home. They'll sit in their driveway in their car for hours just looking at the house because there is no peace in their home. They would rather go to the bars and drink all night or go to clubs, adult clubs, gentlemen clubs, or even if they just want to go golf or hang out with their boys or work a lot. Men have to have an outlet to find peace. And if they can't find it from home, they're going to find it somewhere else. That's why I'm so heavy on women about my femininity tips and helping women understand how to become that man's peace, how to respect that man, because I don't know what the statistics are now, but at one point it was statistically proven that men had a higher mortality rate and a shorter lifespan expectancy due to the stress they have to endure. My word says, the blessings of the Lord maketh one rich and addeth no sorrow to it. The Lord did not bless us with marriage to destroy us, to kill our purpose, to break our spirits, to crush our hearts and leave us destitute and disadvantaged and demotivated and just everything. Like what man in his right mind would want to sign up for marriage, seeing that that's what is being promoted, not just in the world, but on church panels. And then you see what's happening in family courts, how men who not are even biological fathers to stepchildren can be taken to court, to divorce court, and sued for child support, can lose everything. The world has done a great job destroying the brand of marriage, which was God's first institution, the family unit. This is why the world is coming so hard against family, to try to break up what God has put together. Now, I'm going to wrap this up in a little bit because my baby's waking up, but I say all this to say, you don't know what you're doing, you don't know when to stop. If you're ready to get the tools and get your life on track, join the Kingdom Marriage Academy. We have free game nights. We have our 3 retreats coming up. We have so many resources, and we're here to help you. You don't have to do this together. We have a community right here. Visit our website, coachmylove.net, and join the Kingdom Marriage Academy. Love you guys. God bless you. And keep on loving. Have a good day.